We're going to talk about what's been happening with Julian Assange. You know, I got shocked last Friday night while we were doing the show and seeing that they had announced he had suffered a stroke, on October 27th during the High Court hearing.
Right.
And this is a legal question that Joe Lauria for Consortium News asks, which is a completely valid question about whether they knew. If they knew, would it have made a difference? Why it took so long for them to make any kind of an announcement about this is still something that I have. It's just I struggle with this because it's just they're torturing this guy and we all know it and we see what they're doing and free this man, get this man out of jail. He's a publisher. Whoa, what just happened? I hit the wrong button. Whoa. Okay.
Whoa, button masher.
Hey now. Okay.
Well, I mean, I know I put a tweet out recently about, look, the dude's fucking put out truth the last fucking, every time. Hasn't had to rescind shit over and over. So
when did the High Court know? Yeah, here. It's not clear when the High Court judges learned of his deterioration. Again, would it have mattered? Burnett's remark was on the High Court in the Assange case. Okay. Also, when the court overturned Lori Love's extradition, and that was one of the cases that we were hoping. So the court ruled against extraditing Love and for extraditing Assange. Why? Yeah. We are all Assange, and that's the problem. And again, here is the Burnett ruling overturning that said. Jimmy Lewis, somebody said James Lewis QC, argued ironically on the day of the stroke that the Love case was not precedent for Assange because Love had suffered from physical ailments where Assange had not, and now suffering from a stroke that also is no longer the case or valid. So at that point, Burnett interrupted QC Fitzgerald from the bench. It's a completely different case, according to SBS Mary Kostakidis, who viewed the appeal hearing via video link. Burnett said Love was different because he had physical ailment, namely eczema. Free Julian Assange, and again, I want to hear his voice. I want to hear it from him. I want to hear what he sounds like. I want the world needs to hear directly from him. Yep. And hopefully one day we'll get to see that. Another story and another angle about the Assange story that I don't think a lot of people caught was that there actually has been movement in the Australian government. So you've got now somebody somewhat high up, at least, whether it's a shadow or a misdirection or something where he's running for something and it's politicizing it in order to win some points somewhere. But this has got to be looked at some kind of a positive sign that Australia's deputy prime minister has come to the defense of WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange, calling on the UK not to extradite him. Barnaby Joyce, who's at least brave enough to stand up to everyone in his government to know that what he's going to say is going to be unpopular in the Five Eyes of the world.
Yep. Why not Six Eyes?
Well, because we don't want a sixth eye. Believe me, Five Eyes is enough.
Five Eyes is enough.
Five Eyes is enough. Okay, and that is the treaty.
You probably got four-eyed.
Well, it's Four Eyes. I've been called Four Eyes plenty, but this is the unilateral spying agreement that we have among all the major English-speaking countries. But so again, this is from the Independent. As an individual, whether you like him or despise him, it is beyond him, given his circumstances, to protect his rights by himself. So we must hope for the British courts to do so. God willing, which we know they're not going to do, and we will judge its society accordingly. And that means fuck all to the people, the prosecutors, and to
Yep.
and to the judges for sure, because we now know that one of the judges had.
I would not like him. He's that asshole. Yep.
Yeah. So, to look at it clearly, you must leave your uninformed preconceptions at the door of this high-color sideshow. You must also set aside the grave issues. Right. I mean, that's... And he spent the last 2 years in Belmarsh.
Which is them just trying to fucking prep everyone in that sentence.
Right. And Stella, over the weekend, accused UK authorities of playing the role of executioner after Mr. Assange suffered a mini stroke in prison, and that's what they're announcing it as. And again, it was Stella that made that announcement. I didn't hear it confirmed by any prison doctors or any prison officials or anyone else on his team. Not again. It's again, not that there's any doubt about it or anything, but just wow. And then, of course, Chris Hedges, and I know this was covered by a few people in ScheerPost, and let me blow this up so that people can read it a little bit better. Okay. And I just wanted to go to the very first paragraph, which is so powerful, where he actually says, "Let us name Assange's executioners." And I believe he did this in the streets also. And
on the streets, yeah.
So powerful, and I love this man so much. Joe Biden, Boris Johnson, Scott Morrison, Theresa May, Lenin Moreno, Donald Trump, Barack Obama, Mike Pompeo, Hillary Clinton, Lord Chief Justice Ian Burnett, and Justice Timothy Victor Holroyd, Crown prosecutors James Lewis, Claire Dobbin, and Joel Smith, District Judge Vanessa Baritzer, Assistant U.S. Attorney in the Eastern District of Virginia Gordon Kromberg, William Burns, the Director of the CIA, Ken McCallum, the Director of the UK Security Service, or MI5. But also, let's not leave out Merrick Garland, Attorney General of the United States, that is continuing to pursue this as well.
Yep. And all the congressional assholes who will say nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is, again,
Physical
Chris Hedges.
When did he write this? Is this before or after?
This was written on December 13th. So this was after we knew that he had suffered. Yeah, again, who suffered a stroke during court proceedings. And I know he had done a stream with Richard Wolff, I believe, just beforehand. So what they recorded was before he had that knowledge. He committed empire's greatest sin. He exposed it as a criminal enterprise. He documented its law. Again, I can't do justice to Chris Hedges. Yeah. All I can say is go read this article. It's lengthy and it's worth reading. And he's just a friggin' treasure.
Pulitzer Prize winning. Yeah.
He's just a friggin' treasure, and I adore this man, and maybe one of these days we'll actually get a chance to...
Tremendous personal cost warned us. He gave us the truth. The ruling caste is crucifying him for this truth. With his crucifixion, the dim lights of our democracy go dark. Hopefully, he comes back after 3 days, but, that's just me.
Yeah, that's all of us. And then I also wanted to give a shout out to Low Key, okay, for the Watchdog podcast on Mint Press News. Again, this is the kind of coverage that we should be getting from corporate media about Assange, where you've got different outlets covering different angles, and this is about specifically how the corporate media has manufactured contempt in general public sentiment, at least in the United States and globally. I, again, recommend everyone listen to this 48-minute podcast from Low Key, okay, who recounts. He's got two individuals who've been closely monitoring, Pablo Navarrete and John McAvoy, and you can read their credentials here. Founder of Alborada magazine, an outlet concentrating on Latin American politics. John's an investigative journalist, right? Thank you, sir. Okay, and then in November, John and Pablo were publishing a lot of mistakes about the Guardian and Assange, which can be read on Mint Press as well. So they're being interviewed now about that research by Low Key for his podcast. Okay, they recount that it's now known that UC Global, of course, spied on Julian. They even scavenged the embassy's garbage, stealing his kids' diapers to verify the DNA. We know that happened. Again, we are all Assange.
When you have security, like the president has to guard his poop. There has to be a guy that goes in and
Unreal. Yeah, Luke Harding published a viral story that claimed that Assange had secretly met with Paul Manafort, which was told to be a lie. It found out to be a complete fabrication, and I believe somebody's going to prison for that. Gaping holes in the accusation, even though, and there was not the least of that, there was no record of him ever visiting the embassy. Right. Police reporters, activists, intelligence agents were outside 24 hours a day, yet he was reportedly able to enter without anyone noticing. Come on. So, again, listen to this. Low-key does a great job. And I know that, shout out to Steve from Slow News Day. We were talking earlier this week, and I know he was cracking up on his stream talking about the possibility of Donald Trump doing a podcast with Low-key about Palestine because the evangelicals were turning on him, and seeing this just made me, seeing Loki's name just brought that back to mind. And shout out to Steve. Say hi to Steve, and give Slow News Day a follow. We retweet and amplify all of their stuff. The only other thing, and Warren, this is all going to be one segment, just a long Assange segment. And the other thing we can talk about is the other angle from our INN brother, the Dissident, revisiting the Russian hacking claim and debunking the smears against Assange, which they've been doing tremendous work. I sound like Trump now. It's tremendous work. It's bigly, tremendous. Hugely tremendous.
Big. It's so big.
It's so huge. Okay, Mueller's timeline not lining up, and Mueller's sketchy source, and forensics showing that his source couldn't have been a hack. Okay, and then of course the Ziggy Thordarson thing showing that he didn't do a hack and that it was completely a lie. Okay,
you know what's funny to me on Reddit? Whenever people put text posts, they always have a too long didn't read section at the bottom. Like. I want one of those for like every news article. I just want to be able to scroll down.
Yep. Too long, didn't read.
Yep.
Well, you better get hip to indie left. Indie left. Indie left.news.